So are you ready for Christmas? If someone asked you that, if they asked you that tonight, like most people, you'd say, well, you know, I've got some presents bought, but I've got some more to do, and, you know, working on the lights and the Christmas decorations today, and if I never get to those cards, they're always late. You know, it's just Christmas, you know. So if I asked you a second time, are you ready for Christmas? Get a little frustrated at me and say, you just asked me that, and I told you I'm kind of ready and kind of not. If I asked you a third time, you ready for Christmas? You get really annoyed at me. And you'd think and go, oh, I get it. Yeah, Deacon John, yeah, that church stuff. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, am I ready for Jesus and church and religion? Yeah, I get where you're going here. I didn't get it at first. And yeah, not really. You know, it's Advent, and it's just busy. I have a friend who said his neighbor across the street, you know how nowadays they blow up figures and put them on the lawns? Well, this friend of mine said directly across the street on his neighbor's front lawn is an 18-foot blow-up that's illuminated and sways of Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson, 18 feet, illuminated and sways. And he's got a Santa Claus jacket on, too. And my friend says, every morning I've got to go out, and the first thing I see is that. Now, you know, Advent is tough. It's tough. It's tough to get into any of this. But really, it's not so much Advent and Christmas that's the danger. It's what goes on all the time, all year long. And it's very subtle. I like reading advertisements, so I pick them out as I read them over the year. And I saw this one about a very expensive car on it, and it said, you cannot buy happiness, but at least now you can lease it. Then there was a home furniture store, and underneath the patron wrote, finding everything we needed in one store was pure joy. The time we saved was priceless. It's a picture of a woman sitting in a chair, and underneath it said, it starts with you falling in love. I guess with the chair. Then there's a beautiful landscape in the backyard, so it's a landscape thing, and underneath it wrote, paradise in your backyard. Then there was an Ann Taylor ad that said, 'tis wondrous. It was a purse. It was $285 for the wonder. My favorite one I got not too long ago, I saved these guys. I got it in the mail, and it says, a whole new way of life is here. A whole new way of life is here. Wow. I just got a whole new way of life. It's AT&T. Whole new way of life. Happiness, pure joy, priceless, love, paradise, wonder, new life. Those are religious words. They're religious words. And the problem is it's not gospel. It's as if another Messiah, another Lord, another King is offered us. And in some deep way within, we're struggling and pulled with that, back and forth. It gets inside us and how we think. In today's gospel, Jesus says, "Blessed is the one who takes no offense at me." Perhaps we do take offense, and we don't know it. Perhaps we're not ready for a Messiah who comes low and poor and who identifies with the suffering and redeems humanity through that. Perhaps that's why we can't answer the question, are you ready for Christmas? Because we're not. We're not. Because we're pulled away from being ready, from the one who is coming. The Jews didn't want a Messiah that came like this. The Romans didn't want any Messiah or king. Perhaps we don't want him either. You know, we celebrate on Monday the feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The native people, the Aztecs, they were languishing under this cultural decimation that had happened in their people. The church was having no impact on them. Yet God comes through his mother. How does he come? She looks like them. She's dressed like them. She comes as one of them. And she stands before the sun and on the moon, because those were the Aztec gods, and said no to them, and revealed the one, the Messiah. And she said in her apparition, "I have come to give forth my love, my compassion, my help, for I hear their lamentations, their miseries, their pain, their sufferings." She came like Jesus comes. And in 6 years, 9 million Aztecs were baptized. Because that's how the Messiah comes. He even says it in today's gospel. Are you the one, Jesus? And he says, look at what I do. Look at the ways I come. I come through what I do. The blind see, the lame walk, lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have the good news proclaimed to them. Friends, he comes here so that we could see for the first time in our life from the cloud that murks our vision. We hear from the first time from the cacophony of voices, the true voice of Christ speaking to us, and we understand for the first time. We're cleansed of our leprosy. We're cleansed of that which keeps us from being free. We're raised to new life. And the good news is proclaimed to us in our poverty. He comes now to those who are ready to receive him. I'd like to end with a story of a woman in our parish I knew pretty well, and she's in the last stage of her life. She's dying. She's at home, so I decided to go visit her. And she's a woman of faith. And I walk in the door, and she's in the living room on the couch. She can't get up. She's got oxygen. As soon as I walk in the door, she goes, "Hey, John, I'm ready. I'm ready. John, I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know. I wish it would happen sooner. I don't want to stay here. I'm done. I want to go. I don't want to be a burden to anyone." Then she went on to talk about the troubles in her life and how she was reconciled with what occurred. She talked about how she achieved most of the things she wanted with a husband and children, and how everything is okay now and everything is good. And she's ready to die. She's ready to meet him. And then she ends this. I didn't get a word in. She goes, "Okay, John, what do you think? I'm like, oh my. You know what I thought? I want to be like you. I want to be like you. She didn't ask me to sit down. You want a drink? Nothing mattered. But that she was ready. One day, that Homer Simpson's going to be deflated. He's going to get folded up and put in a box and stored away. But the love of God in Christ that comes is never deflated. It's never folded up, and it's never stored away. It comes to those who are ready. And if you're like this woman, she was ready throughout life, so she's ready at the end. May we be ready for him.